Hello, Savannah, Georgia. Let me hear from you, Garden City, Georgia. Let's hear it for my brother from another mother, John Ossoff. I'm so deeply honored to be running alongside John Ossoff, a powerful leader against corruption, running for the United States Senate for such a time as this. And I'm so grateful to be back in my hometown of Savannah, Georgia. Now, I've been here a few times. And if you didn't know, now you know. And I decided to bring our brother Common with us. Let's hear it for Common. I'm so glad he's here and John is here. We wanted to take it up another level. You know, I put on for my city. Look at you. But I'm grateful to be home. I love you too. Through pleasures and palaces, though we may roam. Be that so humble, there's no place like home. A charm from the sky seems to hallow us there. Seek through the earth, 'tis not found elsewhere. Home, sweet home. There's no place like home. Savannah, Georgia, it's been 150 years since we had a United States Senator from Savannah. I don't know about you, but I think it's about time. Are you ready to have a homeboy in the United States Senate, Savannah? Because you know that when I'm in the Senate, I can't forget about Savannah. My mama lives in Savannah. My siblings live here. My sister's a pastor right here in Garden City. And when I get to the United States Senate, I'll have Savannah on my mind. Because this is home. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful to God, who is first in my life. And I'm grateful because only in America is my story possible. I grew up not with a lot. Short on money, but long on love was my family. Long on faith. I went to Lago Tibet Elementary School. And then we moved. And I went to Charles Hurdy Elementary School and Juliet Gordon Low Elementary School. And then I went to Myers Middle School. And then I went to Saul C. Johnson High School. I grew up in Caton Homes housing projects. I see Caton Homes is in the house. We call it the red brick. And I grew up at a time when, in the 1980s, we were beginning in our country the war on drugs, which was too often a war on black and brown communities. And we saw the ways in which too many of our children were imperiled and in danger. Kelly Loeffler can play with this because she has the privilege of doing so. But I was 12 years old when I first experienced what it's like to be profiled. Marched from the back of a grocery store to the front of the grocery store because my hands were in my pocket. Every 12-year-old boy I know keeps his hands in his pocket. It's a kind of awkwardness of adolescence. And they marched us all the way through the store. All of us, we were preachers' kids. Stopped and frisked, and then released without an apology. And now, decades later, the United States of America, 4% of the world's population warehouses 25% of the world's prisoners. We've got to press reset. And it's work that we can do and we must do alongside law enforcement. I brought law enforcement officers and activists together in my church to address this issue. Because I'm the pastor of Martin Luther King Jr.'s church, and I've spent my life not tearing people apart, but trying to pull people together. Because we are one humanity, we are one Georgia, we are one America, and if we rise, we have to rise together. And so I plan to take that story with me to the United States Senate, because that's the beauty of a representative democracy. You need diverse perspectives in order to get the public policy right. So I don't mind telling you I grew up in Caton Homes housing projects. I grew up in the hood. We didn't have a whole lot of money, but we had a lot of love. We had self-respect. I grew up in the 80s when, you know, brothers walked around with a big boom box on their shoulder. Grandmaster Flash telling our story. Don't push me because I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. Y'all explain that to the millennials. But my dad taught me self-respect. And my mother poured into me, along with him, a sense of a work ethic. They both understood what hard work was, and they both understood self-respect. My dad's from Burke County and Scriven County. My mother's from Waycross, Georgia. You know where that is, Waycross, Georgia. She grew up in the 1950s picking somebody else's tobacco and somebody else's cotton. But I want you to know that we're in the period of early voting right now. And the other day, my 82-year-old mother, whose hands used to pick cotton, went to the polls and picked her youngest son to be the next United States Senator from the great state of Georgia. Because this is America, and what makes America great is that we always have a path to make it greater. Are you ready to rise up in this defining moment in American history and make America greater? We can do it. Don't let anybody tell us that we cannot, but the only way we can do it is to stand together. And so we have to push hard against the folks who are trying to divide us. Because folk who have no vision engage in division. They do not know how to lead us, and so they want to divide us. And so in this defining moment, we have to stay woke. You got to wake up. Don't sleep through this moment. My dad used to wake me up every morning. He didn't care what day of the week it was. 7 days a week, he woke me up. And he would tell me, get dressed, get ready, put your shoes on. Just get ready. And he would do that 7 days a week, during the school year, during the summer. And one day I asked him, Dad, he's waking me up. It was July. It was Saturday. I was 7 years old. I said, Dad, get ready for what? I think I stumped him. He said, I don't know, just be ready. Put your shoes on. Well, that's aggravating and irritating when you're 7 years old and 10 years old and 13 years old and 14 years old. But I'm so glad that my dad poured that kind of work ethic in me, because I went on, earned a degree from Morehouse, 2 master's degrees and a PhD degree. I went to Morehouse College on a full faith scholarship. I didn't have enough money for the first semester. But I want you to know that I'm glad that my dad taught me to be ready, because in this defining moment in American history, I'm ready to be your next United States Senator, along with John Ossoff. I'm ready to fight for you. I'm ready to stand up for all of our children, because I went to Morehouse on a full faith scholarship. I didn't have enough money. The tuition, room, and board equaled my parents' income. But somebody gave me some Pell Grants. Somebody gave me some low-interest student loans. And I'm running for the U.S. Senate now, because as I travel all across Georgia, urban Georgia, rural Georgia, our children are struggling. And if they make it to vocational school, technical school, university, or college debt has now surpassed credit cards and auto loans. I don't know about you, but I don't think our children should have a mortgage before they have a mortgage. And so we've got to do something about student debt. We've got to stand up for our community colleges. And we've got to stand up for our HBCUs. Savannah State and others need our help. If you send me to the U.S. Senate, I'll be there and I will remember you. Because this is the work that we must do. We must make sure that the prosperity is spread abroad. We've got to stand up for Savannah, one of the busiest ports in the country. And we've got to make sure that the federal government does its part, so that the prosperity is felt here in Garden City and felt in Savannah and felt throughout this region. Are you ready to make that happen? Are you ready to stand up? And we've got to make sure that folk have affordable health care, because health care is a human right. And it is certainly something that the richest nation on the planet can and ought to provide for all of its citizens. Now, let me tell you, because I know I'm the preacher's preaching to the choir. But let me tell you how to help your friends make the right decision. The way to decide and to discern what someone will do once they're in office is to examine what they were doing before they were running. During the recession, I was leading my church, and I want you to know we're not nearly as wealthy as we are famous. We got a lot of renown, not a whole lot of resources, but in the midst of the recession, we were building a community center. at the height of the recession. And in that recession, in that community center, we placed a financial literacy center that was teaching folks how to improve their credit, create a 700 credit score community in order to draw enterprise to the community. We were teaching renters how to become homeowners and teaching folk who had an entrepreneurial vision how to start a business. That's what I was doing during the recession. During the same recession, Kelly Loeffler set up a business making millions of dollars, teaching the biggest banks in the country how to hide their assets in the Cayman Islands so they wouldn't have to pay taxes in the United States of America. You can tell what somebody will do once in office based on what they were doing before they went to office. And once she got to the Senate, when she heard about the COVID-19 pandemic, rather than thinking about those who were sheltering in, she was busy sheltering her portfolio, profiting off of a pandemic, dumping millions of dollars while telling you there was no need to be concerned. And then when the time came to give ordinary Georgians $600 in extra unemployment insurance, she said that there was no need. She said it was counterproductive, but it was not counterproductive for her to profit off of the pandemic. Who does that? Who profits off of a pandemic, and then who wants to leave 1.8 million Georgians with pre-existing conditions without health care in the middle of a pandemic? That's what she's been doing over the last 10 months. She was appointed, and Georgians are disappointed. She's an investment professional who invested in that seat by giving millions of dollars to Republicans. But the problem Kelly Loeffler has is that the folk who sold her that seat don't own that seat. The people of Georgia own that seat. And come January 5th, the people of Georgia are coming to get their seat back. Are you ready to take your seat back? That seat belongs to the people. That's how she feels about health care. She wants to get rid of coverage for pre-existing conditions in the middle of a pandemic. She thinks it's all right that we have refused to expand Medicaid and we have 500,000 people in the Medicaid gap and our hospitals are closing. How do I feel about health care? Well, when we were passing the Affordable Care Act, I wasn't running for anything, but I was preaching about it from my pulpit because I believe that health care is a human right. And as a Christian, I reminded the folk that when you read the Gospels, Jesus spent a whole lot of time healing the sick, even those with pre-existing conditions. I know tomorrow is Sunday, but blind Bartimaeus had a pre-existing condition. The 10 lepers had a pre-existing condition. The woman with the bleeding hemorrhage, the issue of blood, had a pre-existing condition. And so I was preaching about it, and when Georgia refused to expand Medicaid, I went to the governor's office. And I said, Mr. Governor, you must expand Medicaid. And we had a sit-in the governor's office. And I was holding a sign with a quote from Dr. King that said, of all the injustices, inequality in health care is the most shocking and the most inhumane. And the Capitol Police came and they said, you all will have to clear the governor's office or we'll have to arrest you. I wasn't mad at all with the Capitol Police. They were there doing their job. I know what civil disobedience is. When you engage in it, you willingly accept the consequences. So I wasn't mad with the Capitol Police. They were just there doing their job. And I was just there doing my job. And so they carted us away that day. And then in 2017, when we were giving a $2 trillion tax giveaway to the richest of the rich while taking resources away from the poorest of the poor, I went to the United States Capitol. And because I had not been elected a United States Senator yet, I made my argument in the rotunda of the Capitol. And I began to say that a budget is a moral document. It's not just a fiscal document. A budget tells me who you think matters and who you think does not matter. And if this budget that y'all are trying to pass were an EKG, it would suggest that America has a heart problem and we've come to the Capitol to perform heart surgery. The Capitol Police listened to my speech and they said, that's nice, but we're going to give you 3 warnings. And if you don't clear the rotunda, we'll have to arrest you. What they didn't understand is that I had already been arrested. My mind and my imagination had been arrested by this idea that we are tied in a single garment of destiny. And so they took me away that day. It's all right. It's the occupational hazard of one who occupies Dr. King's pulpit. Why am I running for the U.S. Senate? I'm running for the United States Senate because I've got a feeling that in a few more weeks, I might encounter those Capitol Police officers again, and this time they won't be taking me to central booking. They can help me find my new office as the next United States Senator from the great state of Georgia, from the city of Savannah. Are you ready to win this election? Are you ready to send John Ossoff to the Senate? Are you ready to stand up for me so that I can stand up for you? And so in closing, and nobody believes a Baptist preacher when he says in closing. I know y'all who go to church say, Rev, all right, he's got 3 more closes and he'll be done. Well, in closing, I know these are difficult and dark days. Can I just talk to you from my heart? Keep the faith. Keep your head up. Don't give up. Don't give in. They tell me that the darkest hour is just before day. And maybe that's why all those years ago, my dad used to wake me up at dawn. He said, get ready, get dressed, put your shoes on. And the thing about him waking me up at dawn is that dawn is an interesting time of day. Because at dawn, it's morning, but it's still dark. I know it's been dark. We've lost lives and livelihoods, over 300,000 Americans gone. And most who perished unnecessarily. It's dark. A war being waged on our democracy and on our norms by the highest officials in our government is dark. An economic turndown unlike anything we've seen since the Great Depression is dark. It's dark, but like dawn, hold on for a little while. The sun comes up and morning comes. And weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Don't give up. Hold on to your neighbor and hold on to your family and love one another even as we socially distance one from the other. Because morning does come. And when the new day comes, there's so much that you really cannot control, but there are some things you can control. My dad said, whatever you do, son, just make sure that you get ready. Are you ready? Put your moral clothes on. Are you ready? Put your shoes on. Are you ready? Shake your neighbor and shake your family and call them and tell them that we're in the midst of early voting and now is the time to make history. More importantly, now is the time to make a difference. Are you ready? Ready for affordable health care? Ready to make sure our workers have a livable wage, ready to make sure we protect our seniors, ready to invest in our infrastructure, ready to reclaim our democracy and lift up the high values of compassion and mercy and justice and truth-telling. Savannah, are you ready? Well, put your shoes on. Let's stand together. Let's fight together. Let's vote together. Let's pray together. Let's stay together. Let's march together. Let's run together. And together we win. God bless you.